Where we last left off, our idiot heroes are too stupid to realize that the numbers on the wrist probably correspond to the doors and need to maybe wait in front of that device to the left of the door. Anyway, next to the door on the wall was a small box that looked just like the one he'd seen in his room next to that door. If it was the same, then the door was likely locked as well. Still, he had to check. Junpei grabbed a handle and threw all of his weight into it. It was locked as tight as the door next to it, as he'd suspected. Damn it! Junpei punched the door. It did not respond. Sure it did. It was like, man, that's not cool. At the very least, it responded with equal and opposite reaction. Were these the only doors, he wondered? He'd barely finished the thought when the C-deck blade passed on his way upspring, unbidden to his mind. His body moved before he had time to think. Junpei turned and ran back toward the stairs. He had scarcely taken a step when, at the top of the stairs, next to an ornate clock embedded in the wall, he saw a person. "What's up?" It was a girl. She looked to be the same age as Junpei. He froze, unable to look away from her face. He wasn't confounded by her beauty, or something equally silly. No, there was another reason he couldn't take his eyes off the girl. Junpei had seen her somewhere before. Couldn't quite remember where, but he knew. He knew he'd met her before. And the girl, too, stared at Junpei, similarly stunned. Her response suggested she'd seen him before as well. Without saying a word, Junpei walked slowly toward her. She didn't move. It was almost as though she was held in place by some sort of magic spell. Maybe it was that ugly potato sack she was wearing as a dress. As Junpei stepped into her landing, the spell broke. No sooner had he set foot down than the whole ship shook a second time. The quake had got the girl unprepared, and she fell. Moving on instinct, Junpei leapt to catch her. Or so he thought. Whoopsie. Their face was far closer than it should have been, mere inches from his own. He was flat on his back, and she had landed squarely on top of him. The girl seemed as confused as he did, and her face suggested she still hadn't fully recovered from seeing him. For a moment, that seemed to stretch for a very long time. They stared at one another. The ship stopped shaking. Everything was quiet. The water could be heard from the bottom of the ship, lapping faintly at the walls and ceilings, but eventually that faded as well. "Hey guys, let's fuck around." And the silence was complete, a thick, muffling blanket. At last, the girl opened her mouth. "Oh my gosh, is that you, Jumpy?" Jumpy? Jumpy. Her words echoed through Junpei's head, and suddenly his memory returned. Akano? Why hadn't he... She looked exactly the same. Why hadn't he realized it before? The girl was Akane Kuroshiki. She and Junpei had been friends in childhood. They got to elementary school together for 6 years. But what was she doing on the ship? Her soft eyes were only inches away from his own. He could feel the warmth of her face. Feelings he thought long forgotten began to work their way to the surface. He could feel his face heating up. At that moment, the speaker crackled to life, and a cold, eerie voice filled the room. "Welcome aboard. I welcome you all from the bottom of my heart to this, my vessel." With the voice's invasion, the spell between Junpei and Akane was broken, and all hints of burgeoning romance instantly forgotten. They hurriedly untangled themselves from one another and struggled to their feet. Their 7 companions had heard the voice as well, and many of their faces had gone pale. They looked around frantically, desperate to locate the source of the voice. At last they found it. The speaker sat in the ceiling. "I am Zero, the captain of this ship. I am also the person who invited you here." The voice was harsh, obscured occasionally by the crackle of the static. But Junpei recognized it. How could he have forgotten it? It was the same asshole he had heard from the man in the gas mask. "Hey, asshole, see, I told you. What the hell is this? Come on, out here. I want to get a look at you," said Quicksilver. "What do you mean to do with us?" said Mufasa. "I mean to have you participate in a game. Some of you, I know, are familiar with this game. The Nonary game. It is a game where you will put your life on the line." Nonary game. What the hell's that? The voice continued, implacable. The rules of the nonary game can be found upon your persons. They're simple rules. Read them. Nonary game. Nate, there's something in my pocket. Check this out. And you didn't notice before? Silver reached into his pocket and pulled out a small slip of paper. The rest of them reached into their own pockets, pulled out similar slips of paper. Junpei followed suit, dug into the pocket of his pants. He felt the telltale crumple of paper, slightly damp from the earlier ordeal. Hey, I got one too. Then it seems Zero has seen fit to grace us each with a letter. Would you mind terribly reading to us, young man? His request had been delivered to Junpei, who, at this short moment of surprise, did as he'd been asked. On this ship, you'll find a handful of doors emblazoned with numbers. We will call them the numbered doors. It's a good name. I like how they're both doors and they are numbered. The doors in front of you are a pair of the same. The key to opening these numbered doors are the numbered bracelets that each of you possess. Should you total the numbers on your numbered bracelets and find that digital root of that number is equal to the number of that door, the door will open. But only those who have opened the door may pass through. There are, however, limits. Only 3 to 5 people can pass through one numbered door. All those who enter must leave, and all who enter must contribute. Bracelet, Junpei figured, had to mean the bulky thing on his wrist. He glanced around, looked like everyone else had one as well, and had come to much the same conclusion. The purpose of the game is simple. Leave the ship alive. It is hidden, but an exit can be found. Seek a way out. Seek a door that carries a 9. Junpei had reached the end of the letter. There was a long moment of silence, and then the speaker crackled to life once more. There is one last thing I must tell you. As you have no doubt surmised, the ship has begun to sink. On April 14, 1912, the famous ocean liner Titanic crashed into an iceberg. After remaining afloat for 2 hours and 40 minutes, it sank beneath the waters of the North Atlantic. I'll give you more time. 9 hours. That is the time you'll be given to make your escape. The voice finished, and the speaker went silent. The sound of the bell tolling echoed through the hall. It came from the dance hall adjacent to the stairwell. Dick was assembled on the stairs mere moments to trace the sound to an antique clock embedded in the wall. 7, 8, 9. The sound of the 9th bell faded away. The 10th never came. That meant the time was 9 o'clock. Very good! Most likely 9 o'clock in the evening. When Junpei had peered out the window of his cell, he'd seen nothing but blackness. Had to be nighttime. If that was the case, then I would need to escape by 6 a.m. the following day. Now it is time. Let our game begin. I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you. And the speaker went silent and did not speak again. Silver yelled at the speaker with a language coarse enough to embarrass the sailor, but the rest of Junpei's companions were silent, deep in thought. Junpei, too, was consumed by his thoughts. There was a great deal he didn't understand. Who was Zero? What was the nonary game? Why had he chosen to make them part of it? Was he a criminal who took delight in playing with his victims? Or did he have some other purpose? And why had Junpei been chosen as part of this insane game? Why had any of them been chosen? But one question was foremost in his mind. Akane. They hadn't seen one another since elementary school. Why had she appeared now? Coincidence? No, that seems impossible. There had only had to be a reason. He didn't know what it might be, but there had to be a reason. Very well. The lion's voice seemed oddly loud in the silence. Standing around here won't do us any good. Best we get moving, don't you think? Get moving? Are you planning to open the numbered doors? Hey, wait. Don't tell me you're actually going to do what this Zero says. No, that's not what I mean. The lion shook his head, mildly annoyed. I'm saying, let's find another way. After all, we haven't really examined this place yet. What?